So what I want to talk about in this video is the goals of a good guy and the goals of a bad guy. This sort of came about years ago when I was talking to someone else about the 21 feet rule. I'm sure most people watching this video already know what that is, but for those of you that don't, essentially it's a gunman versus a knifeman, and at a distance of 21 feet or closer, but in this instance let's just put it to its furthest gap and say it's 21 feet. And basically this is how it works. Within that distance, in a realistic setting, okay, the time it takes for the gunman to draw their gun and fire enough shots into the knifeman as the knifeman charges at them, the more likely scenario is that even the knifeman could get shot, but you're still going to get stabbed. And if you are going to drill this, I've seen people do it in such a way where someone says go, and then they kind of buys the gunman a bit more time because the knifeman is reacting to the go at the same time that the gunman reacts to the word go. So, but what you should be doing is reacting to the knifeman charging off at you. And so do some like realistic dialogue and stuff like that, and try and make it replicate reality as close as possible. Just otherwise all you're doing is like a timing issue. And if you also know that the person's going to be charging at you, well, that's different to real life, because in real life you don't always know that the knifeman's going to come charging at you. And so, anyway, the point is that my other friend that I was explaining this stuff to said, okay, so if someone breaks into my home with a gun, I'll be okay as long as I get my knife and charge at them at a distance from 21 feet or shorter. I said, I didn't say that. Keep in mind your goal as the good guy is to stay as safe as possible. The bad guy's goal is to cause harm to you. So the bad guy could still shoot you while you're charging him with the knife and stuff like that, and if that happens, his goal is complete, okay? But if you also, like I said, you get shot, so you've just taken an injury, or worse if you die, and so therefore your goal just kind of like got diminished. Even if you stab him and take him with you, don't think it really amounts to much really, when the main goal is for you to stay safe. So if you were in such a part of your home where you could just run out a window or something like that and not get shot, there's also that. Or even if someone does break in your home with a knife and then you also have a gun, well, same story. They can charge at you, you can shoot them, but you can also get stabbed. And at that point I don't think it's going to be a case of I'm bleeding, I'm going to die, and I didn't get a chance to shoot you once, joke's on you, you're going to go to jail for murder. And there's also those other people that I see fucking commenting on Facebook and shit when there's a news article shared about how some people got broken into, bad guys broke into someone else's home, stole their shit, beat them up, killed them, raped them, whatever the fuck it is on that day, and then some other people say the smart thing, saying, well, that's why people should learn self-defense and stuff like that. Some other fuckstick will comment on it saying, oh, but people shouldn't need to learn self-defense in their own home. Really? So we're all home invaders vampires now? Because I'm pretty sure they don't need a fucking invitation to step into your home to do bad shit to you. Just saying. So the day that criminals decide not to attack people in their own home is the day I'll decide to advocate people not needing to learn self-defense for their own property. But until that day, no, fucking learn self-defense anywhere where you could get attacked by a fucking cunt. And so, basically, the reason why I bring this up is because I want you to understand, as the good guy, your ultimate goal should be heavily focused around prioritizing your own safety and the safety of those around your immediate care. And so if it's just you that lives alone, someone breaks in your home and you can jump out the window and be safe, call the cops or something like that, take your mobile with you, or cell phones, they call it in America, then do that. With that being said, the situation would change if you have like a 2-month-old child of yours at the property. And so again, you need to listen to your intuition in the heat of the moment, because that's the thing that's going to try and keep you as safe as possible. For more on that, YouTube the audiobook of Gavin DeBecker's Gift of Fear. There's 2.5 hours worth of information on there, all about why you should listen to your intuition and fear when it kicks into play. So, if you haven't read the book or listened to the audiobook, well, please go do so. A lot of good information in there. And so, the bad guy, I don't really care what happens to the bad guy, okay? The bad guy, let's say the bad guy puts a gun to my face and demands my wallet. I'll hand it over to him, because I know a lot of gun disarms, but there's always a risk with that, okay? So if I can see in the bad guy's eyes that he's desperate and all he wants is my wallet, I'll hand it over, and then if the gun's still in my face, I'll do something then. But if handing that over means that he can fuck off and leave me alone, I'll do that. It's not my place to inflict harm on the bad guy and, you know, be judge, jury, executioner or whatever. So, and it's a little bit hard also to argue in the courtroom, depending on where it is you live in the world, that you are defending yourself by taking the gun off him and shoving it up his ass when all he wanted was your wallet. So I'm sure the first question will be, why didn't you just give him your wallet? I mean, that could have been the thing that could have avoided any kind of violence. But anyway, I digress. So I'm just saying, whatever your plan is, make sure that the number one goal is to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. Bad guys, they don't give a shit about your health and safety, okay? The bad guys are there to fuck you up and do all this sinister stuff to you. And so even if you take them down with you, if they still injured you in some way, well then they've, in a sense, kind of still won. Especially if they take your life. If it's an injury that you can recover from in the hospital, bit of a different story, and that's a bit of a grey area there, but like I said, only take the bad guy if absolutely necessary, if that is what's going to ultimately lead to your safety. But if it's a situation where you can run away, you should do that. If it's a mugging situation where you should just give him your wallet, do that. But as I pointed out in the other video of mine, the 4 things that a bad guy could want from you, if it's your life or your body, that's another bit of a grey area. With that being said, and this is where I'm sure some people are going to get a little bit pissy at me for saying, I had some other student, like years ago, and a female student who was raped. And after, she didn't have any self-defense training or anything like that, and she went and got training from a few different people, including me, after that incident happened. And she said to me, man, you know, it really sucks, like I should have fought back and did something like that. I'm like, hang on, what was your intuition telling you? Was it telling you to not fight back or to fight back? She said, well, not to fight back. I said, why? She goes, well, I was so 100% certain this guy would have killed me if I fought back, or like just beat me up and cause more harm to me and then rape me anyway. I said, well, here's the thing. There's 2 schools of thoughts. Other people say, no, never fight your attacker. Other people say, no, always fight your attacker. Well, really is it situationally dependent. The reason why, I'm still like saying this in the sense of me talking to the student whose name I won't mention, but I said to her, the reason why you thought that this guy was going to kill you and do bad stuff to you is because really he would have. Like, your intuition picked up on that and told you that. And so if you fought back, he may have killed you, and that ultimately would have ended up being worse. So in her mind, she had to make the decision between either being murdered or raped. Or maybe he would have killed her anyway and raped her corpse. You never know with people these days. And, you know, again, of course, I'm not advocating that people shouldn't fight back on the attackers and stuff like that. I'm saying in her case, she had no skills, didn't know what else to do and anything like that, and so I can't fault her on the decision that she made with the information she had to make it with. But someone else that may have a bit more training and understand more criminal psychology and stuff like that, and, you know, can gauge their skills based on the strength and size of their attacker and, you know, all these other factors, then some of those can fight back and actually understand that they have a better chance of getting out of it. But unfortunately, with this other student, you know, that wasn't the case. But ultimately, her decision did keep her alive. And yes, a really bad thing happened to her, but ultimately it was either that or be no longer among the living. So, you know, it's a fucked up thing, put it that way. So anyway, like I said, there are some grey areas to this as well. And, you know, again, yeah, so she is a rape survivor, as they like to call them these days, and there is treatment for that. There is no treatment if you are dead. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, other questions and stuff like that, that's what the comment box is for. I don't ever disable comments, even if, you know, people in there are being a douchebag. I still allow them to put their comment up on there. So thank you for watching, and if it isn't apparent, stay safe.